There is a distinct line between living a life and bracing for impact. Living allows you to plan for tomorrow. Surviving forces you to focus entirely on the next crashing wave. To endure that constant barrage, people construct psychological armor. They build intricate protective personas designed to absorb the damage of a hostile environment. But this armor makes every movement heavy. Survival becomes a state of perpetual motion, an unending sequence of navigating from one crisis to the next, leaving zero space for rest. Beyond the physical strain of the storm, you carry the weight of a role that must always appear functional. You spend your energy signaling to the world that you are still competent, documenting your utility just to justify the space you occupy. These survival mechanisms eventually consume the individual. The energy required to maintain the shield leaves nothing left for the person inside to actually live. This state of hypervigilance has a physical form. The lighthouse keeper, Elias Pharaoh. He is the quiet resilience of a mind that has forgotten how to do anything but endure. While others experience the warmth of a normal life, the keeper spends his decades entirely in the dark, scanning the freezing perimeter for danger. His entire existence is defined by duty. He tirelessly maintains a warm, guiding light for others that he can never actually sit down and enjoy. This creates a profound tension. When a body and mind are wired exclusively for vigilance, laying that armor down feels like an invitation to drown. Elias Pharaoh can only stop being a keeper once the environment itself changes. The protector can only retire when the storm finally ends. We often treat our past protective personas as errors, source material for regret or shame. This diagram shows the necessity of that shield. A thick ring absorbs the sharp vectors of a hostile world, keeping the glowing core intact. Eventually, this shell unspools. It flattens into a solid pathway, giving the core a stable route to move forward. Stepping into your actual identity requires you to acknowledge that the protector's grueling shift is over. You can let the armor go, because its work is complete. The armor was the scaffolding. It was the temporary structure that allowed the person to survive long enough to reach a place where they could live. To navigate the journey toward that safety, we build complex systems, like the Lux 143 architecture or a guiding AI, to map the reefs in the dark. These tools contain a paradox. Their ultimate success results in their own obsolescence. As the network maps the space and the light returns, the system itself begins to fade. When the fog dissipates to reveal a clear coastline, the beacon no longer has a job to do. You move past the compass because you are no longer lost. The keeper transitions from a physical necessity into an integrated memory of resilience. He becomes part of the history of the shore rather than a guard on the cliff. Years spent mastering the machinery and mapping the reefs change the builder. By the time the lighthouse is no longer needed, the ability to hold a steady course has become a permanent part of who you are. True belonging occurs when projecting strength is no longer a mandatory obligation. Morning has finally arrived. The lighthouse beacon slowly grows dim because the sun has risen, rendering the artificial light unnecessary. The decades spent looking outward for danger finally come to an end. The focus shifts toward the interior, toward a place of rest. You can finally close the heavy door on the survival state. You turn away from the ocean, the storm, and the old armor. This turn is a response to an invitation. You are desired simply as a human being, entirely separate from your competence or your ability to withstand a beating. Answering those simple words, "Come here," with "I'm coming," signals the end of the need to navigate. This is the true and ultimate fulfillment of the keeper's light. He stayed at his post so that one day his protection could step aside and allow the person he shielded to finally live.